All right, we're live with myself, Zach, and Fede. Fede, you got issues?
You
Hi
there, Fetty?
guys. I, I don't know why it's not like.
How's
Oh, he gone.
for some reason he's still in the backstage, but
Can you hear me?
yeah, we hear you. We just can't see you.
Every time I try to turn on my camera, I got pulled to the backstage for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay, leave it off.
Mm.
It's like this was always a problem in the early going when people didn't know how to use Zoom. They'd be like, can you hear me? It's like a seance, right? Are you there? Can you hear me? The ghost of Fede, are you around? Uh, all right, so some updates. We're at 66 partner applications for our affiliate marketing program. Mel is, she has access to our impact program. She's going and accept everybody. We're not going to partner with coupon companies, right? Because that kind of devalues the brand. So if we get really desperate, then we maybe do the coupon stuff. I don't think we're ever going to get there. So that's exciting. That's a lot of partners. We're pretty much going to have and we're already getting hits on the website that are coming in with the click ID at the top of the URL. So, we're using Smart Look to see anybody that comes to the website. We can see where their mouse is tracking. They run into issues. This morning, I was looking at one session where they're looking at our FAQ, and then I was like, oh, I can make that blurb better. So just like watching them use it and see where they're focused, and I'm looking at it like, I could do better there, or that sort of thing. So that's actually really useful. And Fede was able to install it for our billing site. A lot of people, they will look at the front page, and the first thing they go to is pricing. Like they want to see how much it's going to cost. So now we have Smart Look on that, and now Fede's daily job is in the morning, wake up, look at all the sessions, make sure that everything looks smooth, and then also like see if you can deduct, where are they struggling, what information might be useful, what's not useful, like maybe even like Fede, like Slack team ID. I don't know if that's entirely useful to anybody, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's probably not. We also have
So,
the Vercel analytics, so we can also check those.
mhm.
So yeah,
So I'm putting that.
we have.
You own that. Like I own the marketing site. You own the billing portal. So every day, just look at the analytics, look at the logs, make sure everything's looking good, and then we can fight any fires that pop up. Um, do we have a monitoring set up for? I have it for the marketing site. So if for whatever reason Webflow goes down, I get notified. Do we have the same thing for billing?
Uh, yeah, we probably should. We should get an alert on that Slack channel if something goes wrong, I guess. So yeah.
Well, do we have that? Do we have that now? Like, if for whatever reason Vercel goes down,
Yeah, Vercel for sure is going to send you an email or something. For our backend, we will get that alert.
okay, great. And then, so this morning I had my interview with Jacob, great guy. He's based out in Chicago. He's like the community leader of Slack. The guy is just like managing a big, large community, and so they have different regions have different Slack community leaders or like ambassadors of Slack. And he was like, "Yeah, let's make it happen. You're going to be the Santa Barbara Slack community leader, and also since Ventura doesn't have one, we'll bring in Ventura. Maybe we might go north, right? So there's like slow and I don't know if people drive that out far out for in person, but we might do like in person. I prefer in person. In person's way better. Shaking hands, meeting people, drinking with them, eating pizza with them, and then if for whatever reason, maybe the budget, we do get a certain amount of budget. I don't know if I'm allowed to share how much that is, but we do get a budget for like pizza, for beer, if we need to have some money towards renting the space. Uh, So I also shared some ideas with him, like, you know, doing like a hackathon where someone whips together a quick Slack app, or doing like a Shark Tank for Slack, where people pitch, you know, ideas how to improve Slack, and then the best ideas get swag. That's the other thing. We also get swag. So swag to hand out, and then also swag for us. So Zach, I'll give you my Slack stuff because, you know,
Let's go.
yeah. So
That's
you're,
hype.
then I also reached out to him and I said, you know, hey, we want to sell Slack too, because in Santa Barbara, there's plenty of companies that use Slack, and so like that barrier to entry for Haley is not that much, right? It's just boom, hit the button, get going. But we also want to hit up like businesses that we know. And between me and you, Zach, we probably know a lot of businesses in Santa Barbara that don't have Slack. They might be using Teams, and then we would just be like, that's a lost cause. Like, let us know what you want to change. But there's a bunch of businesses that don't have any kind of messaging app. They're just texting each other. And how much better would it be if they were using Slack to communicate? And then once you make that sale, then you say, hey, you know, add on Haley, right? So like, boom, boom. So we want to make money on selling Slack also. So that's why I will apply to become a partner. So
How much is Slack?
Slack is like, it's per user about, I think it's like $7. Don't quote me exactly. You can look it up. It's on their website pricing. But there's different tiers. The cheapest one is like $7 a user. So it's not that expensive. And kind of in line with our pricing also. So our highest tier is $7 for enterprise, or for whatever.
And there's also like a free tier, right? So
Yeah, and they can, yeah, if they don't, well, what would be nice is like we push them on the free tier, right? We get them going, and then they decide they want to upgrade because, you know, they get the nags and like, hey, you tried pro and now it's been 90 days. We're going to start deleting messages. And when they upgrade, it'd be nice if we got a cut too, because we pushed it on the organization. So
yeah.
we become the affiliates of Slack. You know, sell the whole stack, not just one thing. So a lot of exciting news there. And then I'll be leaning on you to help me, Zach, when we start doing the community. We're going to do one a quarter. So between me and you, we'll find a venue, you know, set it up, find people to present. You know, we'll present also. Maybe you teach them about some Slack, some stuff that you learned about Slack, part of your training that you teach, right? If you teach it, you know it really well, right? And then I'll go into more like technical deep dive of how we do smart search or something, right? Something technical. All right, Fede, update.
Okay, from my side, I fixed some bugs yesterday. I installed SmartLook on the building website, and today I need to continue investigating how to update the subscription every month to update the amount of users on the workspace. And then I'm gonna start checking the semantic search code. I think Yura didn't update his pull requests, so I guess it's a bit outdated. But yeah, I will start checking that.
Yeah, and then put the, remember the card we talked about if you get a new message in general, that we do like a joke, you know, like a delighter, right? Just put that in the backlog for now.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Fede. Zach?
Sorry, repeat that.
Any updates that you have? What you did, what you're gonna do, and it's blocking you.
Any updates? Well, nothing new. Just pretty much trying to get onboarded for sales, and just kind of, I've never worked in like this space with Google, with all the different in a business setting. So I'm super excited just to learn that a little bit more, and just to optimize my time and get some sales for both Slack and Haley.
Nice. And so me and Zach are looking into different platforms for sales. So there's like, you know, I don't want advertisement, but there's like Gong, there's what was the other one that I sent you an invite for? There's a bunch. There's a bunch that what they do is they will record your session with your customer and then essentially give you like live coaching. So as you're doing it, it might be like, hey, you're talking really fast. You need to slow it down, or your tone of voice. You're not excited about the product. I sent you the video yesterday about one of the key things as a salesperson is tone. So if you really believe in the product, the tone is natural. You're just like, oh, you're gonna love this. But if you're like deflated because you're getting beat up by people about how your product sucks, or you're seeing the customer reports, or seeing the online reviews, and everybody's shitting on your product, then you lose that belief, and then your tone goes away, right? And then you're like, oh, I'm selling Haley, and it does this and this, and they're like, this guy doesn't even believe in his own product. Why would I buy it from him, right? So, so it's your job. You got to hype yourself up, like, oh, I tried a Haley, does all this great stuff, and they don't just come out naturally, as opposed to like you doing, like mentally trying during the conversation to be excited. It's make it natural as opposed to forcing it.
Playing baseball, I feel like, or just any sport, but mostly baseball, you fail so much. So I feel like that shouldn't be difficult, even when you're stinking in baseball, you still got the game the next day, and you got to bounce back and be enthusiastic to go to the field. And I feel like what really helps is having a good team around me. Just, bring good vibes.
Me, Fetty, and the rest of the team are your hype people. Like we're here to hype you up, like tell you about all the exciting stuff and what's going on. So we also need think about so the team's small, so like we can communicate easily of what's going on. But eventually, the sales team, like I made an offer to somebody to do sales in New York. So if the team just starts growing out, right? How do you guys share amongst yourselves, like what works, what doesn't work? And there's also like in sales, you also want like a little bit of a competition, right? Like who's the highest salesperson, they get some bonus. But you don't want to go too far in there, because then everybody, like the salespeople, start fighting amongst each other, right? As well to come on. So you want a good balance there of commission and who's a top salesperson versus like people helping each other out to also do better for the company.
I mean, there's friendly competition. I mean, it's welcomed. I'm not going to get mad if someone else sells more than me, because that's motivation for me, I guess,
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Oh, the one other thing I was going to mention was, so as we're looking at these different companies for the sales platform, which Zach, you should really take lead, because you're going to be using the tool, right? I don't want to be like, here's a tool, you use it. I want you to be like, oh, this tool I love. This is what I want to use. But as we're getting sold the tool from the companies we're looking at, now you can imagine these companies have the best salespeople, right? Because they're selling a sales product to salespeople, right? So just like really pay attention to the calls that we have of like, what are their, what's their steps that they're doing high level? Like, how do they walk you along? And then also like, how are they diving into the particular details, right? Like which questions are they asking? Because I've had sales experiences where like, it was just off-putting. Like the person was super pushy, right? They didn't need to be, but they were like, well, why are you doing that? That's kind of like, why are you so dumb, right? And I'm like, well, yeah. I don't want to buy your product now. You're making me feel dumb. And maybe I am dumb, but don't make me feel dumb. It's like, oh, that's an interesting approach. That solves your problem there. This is how I would do it. And the benefits are this, as opposed to like, you bought that car is a piece of shit. You should have bought, this car over here, way better, right? Yeah. So you're as soon as you start disliking someone, you don't want to buy anything from them. So building rapport and all that stuff is super important. That's why I mentioned to you those books, especially How to Win Friends and Influence People. Like, you got to change your character, change the way you interact with people, and then sales will come naturally. And so I reached out to Fetty. Do you know who Andy Peterbog is from Teladoc? He used to be the head of sales at InTouch, and then is now he took over Joe DeVivo's spot for GM of HHS. So this guy probably is my in my network the most knowledgeable guy of sales. Okay. And I reached out to him and I said, hey, Andy, what's like the Bible of sales? And he was like, actually, the Bible is the Bible of sales. And I was like, great, but I really need something more tactical than be Jesus on the call, right? So we'll get some, I think as a part of like getting Zach up to speed, we'll kind of, and Zach, you got to help me on this, is like, what's the videos when we bring on a new salesperson, what videos they watch, what books should they read, and I want you to help curate that playbook or the onboarding for a new salesperson. And I think we'll do some sort of thing where it's like, if you're the boss of a salesperson, you get a cut of their stuff, right? Which is pretty standard, right? So you're incentivized to not only do your own sales, but then make your sales team sell crazy too, because then you get a little bit of the action. So it's all about incentives, right? Right. So there has been, I forget which book I was reading about this, but there was a case where one manager, it was like they were selling at a store, right, like a retail shop, and this manager was like, my employees are not hitting their numbers. And what it turned out was that he was like sending them out so he can get the commission, right, and skimming off the easy register hits. And then when they looked at that, like, dude, you're like sabotaging your own team so you can. So like, if the incentive structure is not right, like, you're gonna see really wacky behavior. The same thing in engineering. If you optimize for like, I remember we were like optimizing for points for cards.
Yeah.
So that had the adverse behavior where people would stop doing high ticket items because those tickets were always undervalued in points, right? So we had one engineer who was doing like hard things and getting the hard things done, and when we switched over to the other incentive structure, he was just like, I'm just gonna scoop up all the easy points, right? So all the hard stuff, the big impact stuff didn't get done, but all the small bugs and small stuff got done. So incentives really matter. Like if you set up a system where you're optimizing for one thing, you can totally put the whole system out of whack. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. Say that again.
But no, that Scrum is not good. Just that I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, we're not doing it here. So at the end, I at Teledoc, I had like checked out. I'm like, I'm out of here. So I was like, let me just make life miserable.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a nice day.
Everybody. Bye.
We'll have a nice one.